The St. Mary's Cathedral in Sydney represents the spiritual origins of Christianity and Catholicism in Sydney and in Australia. The cathedral represents the most treasured historic building in the city of Sydney. It is also the first example of English Gothic style churches in the world. The cathedral's architect was a Britisher by the name of William Wardell. This was one of his initial sketches for the chapel. William Wardell used convict labour to build some of the finest buildings in Australia, particularly in the cities of Melbourne and Sydney. The convict barracks opposite the cathedral probably proves that convict labour was used to build this magnificent cathedral. Photography of the interior is often not allowed. However, special permission can be obtained and rarely it is given. Some of the finest materials and resources are used, and the great architects and artisans have built this wonderful monument of Christian and Catholic philosophies. The church is built using yellow block sandstone from the Sydney Basin. It also uses some of the finest materials and resources that were obtained from New Zealand, Italy, and the United Kingdom. Visitors to the cathedral can enjoy solace and prayer. Visitors to the city often pay homage to this cathedral, where your fundamental worth and destiny are appreciated, irrespective of race, religion, nationality, and your economic class and wealth. The beautiful parks surrounding the cathedral complement the wonderful environment of the church. Some of the tall buildings of the city and the metropolis can be viewed from the parks nearby. The luscious parks in front of the church or the cathedral are probably the best places to photograph the beautiful sculptures and the structures of the exterior. This is simply because the length and the breadth and the height of the cathedral makes it impossible to photograph it from close proximity. The tall buildings and the towers can ideally be photographed from the parks nearby. Mass is held on Mondays and Fridays, and there are 3 masses during the weekdays. On Saturday, there are 2 masses, and on Sunday, 4. Donations are often welcome to maintain this lasting monument in Sydney. It costs a lot to maintain this 200-year-old building and to conserve the environment. The cathedral also manages the Cathedral College down St. Mary's Road, and members of the choir from the school get free scholarship to the school. Special events are held on Australia Day, Way of the Cross on Easter Good Fridays, Anzac Days, for Vigil Mass of Remembrance, for our defense forces, and for those who are married in the St. Mary's Cathedral. Remembrance and renewal of vows take place every year. The history of the church starts in 1788, when the first fleet of British convicts arrived, and there were many Catholics amongst them. In 1820, the foundation stone was laid by Governor Macquarie, and the chapel was completed in 1821. In 1841, John Bidet Polling became the first Archbishop of Sydney, and this became his church and place of residence. Unfortunately, in 1865, a fire destroyed the chapel. Immediately thereafter, the Archbishop John Polling commissioned the British architect William Wardell to design this monumental and significant structure in Sydney. There are other complementary historical buildings surrounding this wonderful church, or rather the cathedral. You would find statues of the kings and queens who probably ruled England during that time. The St. Mary's Cathedral in Sydney is the spiritual origins in Australia and the most treasured historic building in Sydney.